The Gulf Coast isn't known for perfect waves, and that's kind of the point. Talk to surfers from places like Hawaii or California, and a lot of them get used to perfection. Everything has to line up just right. But here, if there's a wave, we're out there. Stoke level at 100, even if it's barely breaking. If you do call yourself a Gulf Coast surfer, then you probably know the name Juan Rodriguez, a local legend, shaping boards for names like Kelly Slater, and he calls Sarasota home. He embodies everything that it means to be a Gulf Coast surfer, not just in surfing, but in life. Life is what you make of it, so you might as well enjoy the ride, be happy, and live in the moment. This is a story of Gulf Coast legend Juan Rodriguez, and this is Chasing Passion.
My name's Juan Rodriguez. I own One World Surfboards. I live in Sarasota, Florida. I've been surfing for 62 years. I've traveled all over the world, surfed in contests all over, made thousands of surfboards, skimboards, skateboards, windsurfers, stand-up paddleboards, wooden boards, trophies, kind of anything that has to do with surfing I've made. I was going to California every summer for like the last 10 or 12 years, shaping redwood surfboards for this museum project. So I've shaped a couple of hundred redwood boards in California. And Hawaii, I've lived out there for a while, and in the islands and the third world countries. And as far as convenience goes, if I surfed, if there were good waves every day, I would wait until it's like perfect to go out. So it spoils you. Here, if it's crappy, you're going, oh man, it's really good. When you know it's really crappy. But because we'd have waves so infrequently, you get excited about it, and that's what keeps the stoke going. I tell these guys in California that I'm from the Gulf of Mexico. Well, the Gulf of America. Yes. So I'm from the Gulf of America, where in the pecking order of surfing, we're like one notch above Great Lakes guys, right? So it doesn't mean there aren't good surfers here. There are guys that are more dedicated here than almost anywhere, because we have such few waves. And when we do have good surf, or you do go on a trip and you're scoring really good waves, guys from the Gulf rip. You know, and there's a long list of guys, some people you've never even heard of, that just killed it. And then you have Shea and Corey Lopez from Indian Rocks, and Alan Johnson from Sarasota. So this is one of my favorite pictures. That was at North Jetty during a hurricane, or the beginning of a hurricane. And I like this picture, not the surf part, but if you follow the curve of the board, there's the tail right there. And I like how the wave is pushing the tail, holding the tail down, so you can stay on the nose. But that's like a really good example of why you want a wide-tailed nose rider.
Wow.
So the more water that's on that tail, the more downward force, and when you start gaining a little weight like I have, you need all that downward force so you can stay on the nose. So that was a long time ago. You can see I'm dyeing my hair black then. That's my mom. That's me in Mexico. And the guy on the right is from Bradenton, but eventually ended up in Sarasota. Whenever we'd get a ride, hitchhike to the beach, or somebody's mom would drop us off, and we'd look for Jim Drawdy's van. And that's where we'd surf. And he'd end up driving us around, and we did all kinds of stuff with him. Now we're getting into some of my favorite pictures. That's Turtle Beach in the 70s. That's at Venice, North Jetty in the 70s. Me and my Little League team. Stickers I put on the door when I first got this unit, when I bought this unit in the building. So my first sticker was Western Flyers. That's when I used to make skimboards. And I've been to all these places. They all have like a meaning, except for that one and that one. Don't look at those. So I got so many stickers I had to flip the door around. So I don't know what I'm going to do now. Maybe just buy a new door and start all over. That's been my passion for my whole life, and that's all I've ever really wanted to do, except play shortstop in the major leagues, which I ain't gonna do because I'm a little bit too old for that now. But I still want to do it. Now, some people that order boards from me, I know that this has been my downfall. They'll tell me they want something, and it's like, in my opinion, way too advanced for them. So I'll make what I think they should have. And some guys go, that's not what I wanted. I say, well, have you ridden it yet? No. Well, try riding it and tell me this. And so that turns people on to a different way of thinking that maybe they're not always right. Maybe they need to listen to somebody that's got the experience. And some of them have actually listened to me. I think you were one of them. This is all redwood out of, the wood came from the aging barrels at the oldest winery in America that opened in 1854.
Wow.
And this is all redwood, and it was used for the aging barrels that were 20 feet tall and 20 feet across. And these guys I know in Northern California bought all those wine barrels and cut the wood up, milled it, and glued these blanks together like that.
Wow.
So that's kind of cool because of the story.
Yeah.
So every time I did a ding repair in a surfboard, I originally had 4 rolls that were twice this big. So I've done like a few thousand repairs, but I'd always put a Ding Boy sticker on the board. The Ding Boy had to leave home because his girlfriend's husband knew who he was and was after him. So I put an ad in the paper to find a new guy to do the repairs, and I found one. 911 surfboard repair.
That's awesome.
Surfing's like a communal thing, you know, in a lot of ways. And it's definitely tribal, where we're all surfers. Yeah. Now I remember when I started, I was really young, and there were very few surfers here, but if you were a surfer, you were part of this little group of guys that we surfed. You don't. So it was a special kind of camaraderie that we had. Better than being some greaser or hot rodder or some farmer or some vieju or whatever, or jock. We were surfers. What you just said, I've been saying for years, that you have to be passionate about what you do. Because if you are, it's not like real work. Like, somebody asked me how long it takes to make a wooden surfboard. Well, I really like making wooden surfboards. So I can't answer the question because I don't know. I get lost in the art of doing it. I think you need to acknowledge people that follow their dreams and pursue their passion in their work. Okay, I've got a good story where I shaped a redwood board in 1996, and the wood came out of the root ball of a 2,000-year-old redwood tree, so it was the underground part. So the grain was all over the place, and I have the board still. It was a beautiful piece of wood, and I started shaping it, and I'm thinking, the smell. Every wood kind of has its own smell. And I'm smelling this redwood, I'm thinking, this tree was like in the ground for 2,000 years. So the air that's in this root ball of the redwood tree, nobody's breathed that stuff this is old air. So it'd be like going into an Egyptian pharaoh's tomb and cracking that seal, and here's air that's, thousands of years old. It's been in this. So I took all my clothes off and shaped it. It was letting the dust kind of go all over me. And I know it sounds weird, but you had to be there. I mean, I had my underwear on, so I wasn't naked. That's funny. You're asking me questions that I've already asked a bunch of times in my life. So I'll go to the store or go somewhere. Oh, is there anything else I can do for you? That's what would you like anything else? And I say, yeah. And that throws people off. Yeah, 2 questions. What are this week's winning lotto numbers? Oh, I don't know. I said, well, you asked if there's anything else you could do. Okay, this is an easy one. What's the meaning of life? And I get all kinds of things. Hold that thought. Don't worry, be happy. That's easy. Enjoy your life. Don't sweat the little things. Just be. Because we only have X amount of time, and we don't even know how much time that is. What the X could be like, hit by a bolt of lightning, or live to 100. So make the most of it, and be good to yourself. Well, my younger self, I'd do what I'd always done. I wouldn't change anything. Well, maybe a couple things I'd change. Maybe more than a couple, but somebody who's got that 9 to 5, I don't really know what to tell them, because they already know it. I mean, they have to know it. If they know that they hate their job and their frustration level is up, then they know what the answer is. So it's up to them to figure that part out. And good luck doing it, and I hope you can do it. Looks like you're doing all right.
Figure it out.
Yeah, we have to figure it out. And there's no playbook for any of this.
There's heaven up there.